Rick, it's that time again. It's what the whole world is waiting for now.
Is it Monkey News?
It is Monkey News. Please perform live the jingle.
Why'd you say that?
Oh, they've got a few people saying, oh, is that a pre-recorded jingle? Yeah, like anything's pre-recorded.
No, it's different every
we've got
week.
that technology.
I'll give it a big one, shall I?
Give it.
Oh, chimpanzee that Monkey News, you
There we go.
Right then, well, got an email from John. You know, if you've got any Monkey News going on in your area,
just let us know. Podcast@rickygervais.com.
Oh God, amazing!
just bung it on email. And this one's sent in from John. Don't know where he is. But do you know, like, they're running out of TV ideas and that?
They're running out of TV ideas.
Well, you know, they've done a lot of stuff. I mean, if you had to come up with a TV idea now, you struggle, don't you? Because every idea you come up with, it's kind of been done on it.
Sure. Okay.
Right? It's like inventions and that. Right?
They're not getting monkeys to come up with TV ideas, are they?
Well, no, right? But there's a TV channel in Moscow, right? And I think they had a bit of bad luck or something, a lot of redundancies and that, right? And whoever was in charge of it got a bit mental and got rid of loads of people, right?
Yeah.
And they come in the next day and they were like, right, are we ready to go live and that? And someone comes running in with a clipboard saying, we haven't got any people left, right, to present.
Such nonsense.
Right, tell you what. Right, okay, carry on.
So he goes, what?
If just one employee turns out to be Simeon and is doing a good job, I'm never doing this radio show again.
So this TV channel, you know, it's having a lot of problems and that. They've got to go live, right? He's like, what am I going to do? Anyway, for some reason, right, there was a chimp knocking about.
For some reason, that's the key piece of information,
but
we didn't get it. We didn't get it.
It doesn't matter, does it?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Imagine
Anyway.
if that was in a film. And I go, well, I can't see where this plot go. Well, he's just there. He's just there.
So anyway, so he sort of says, get it in a suit, right?
Why?
So, because they're running out of ideas, the clock's ticking, they've got to go live with something.
What do you mean? What he's
Is it a
presenting?
news programme?
He's presenting.
Listen, it's a chat show. I am not.
They can't
Again,
talk.
don't have a go at me, have a go at John, who sent this in.
Right,
and
be
this
quiet, let's hear it. Let's hear the end.
So anyway, so like I say, so they going live, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, what have you. Chimp sat there on the chair. He was like, look, let's just get through tonight's show and worry about this tomorrow, right?
What are you talking about?
Look.
So they put a chimp in a suit. What was that, handmade, or were the sleeves a bit short on him? You idiot, think!
So anyway, it's sat there, right? And they're going, right, here we go. Good luck, everyone, right?
Yeah.
Chimp's there.
What programme is this?
It's a chat show.
Whose chat show is it?
Well, it's the monkeys.
I
now.
like the fact that
It's the monkeys now, is it?
I like the fact that they put the chimp in a suit. It's like, no one's going to take this chat show seriously if he's not dressed up, if he's not smart.
Slovenly, look at that slovenly ape.
So anyway,
Oh.
let's you know, get to the point of it and that, right? So anyway, so they go on, right? It's all going
Didn't
brilliantly.
happen. There's no way this happened.
Here's a fundamental
So anyway.
question. How was the chimp asking questions?
Not sure about that bit, but all I've got is the stuff that was on the news site for this. Like I say, I've
But
given
it's
you,
rubbish.
Yeah, but I've given you some facts.
No,
I've
they're
told
not.
you there's a TV channel in Moscow that's having problems, right? I've explained that.
No,
bit.
it's this rubbish.
They've got rid of the presenters. The monkey sat there, right? Don't worry about it. Anyway, I'm telling you, it goes all right.
It
So
goes
anyway,
okay, in case you were worried, Rick.
he's sat there, right?
Absolute
They get to
shit.
the first break, they're like, can't believe it, right? You know, viewing figures and that, they're loving it, right?
What? No. What? How did they know the viewing figures in the break?
Please
and,
do not interrupt the
and
news.
what did the chimp
At
do in
end
the
of it,
first half?
They had a big guest on that week and what.
And what
have
did
you.
he do? Just talk to
was it?
himself?
They walked out.
So Cher comes
I'm
on,
I'm
yeah.
not sure, but say if it is Cher, right?
No,
Right,
what-
the main gaffer is like going, oh, Cher's going to go mental. That was right for putting
Say
on
it
with
is.
the
No,
monkey.
it is Cher.
No, it's
In
Cher.
his mind, it's Cher sitting there talking to a chimp in a suit.
So anyway, she
and they're
comes
filming
off-
it for Moscow TV, and the ratings are going through the roof.
Presumably there's a translator, because Cher doesn't speak either Russian or chimp.
So she comes off, right, and the bloke who's in charge is like, she's going to go mad. She's going to go mad here. She walks up, she goes, I love that. Right? She said that's one of the best interviews, right? So anyway, they decided, right, it went so well, kept him on. He's still there.
I love the fact that Cher was an idea that Steve threw up, and now she's going, I love that, I love that, I love that, Jim, get me back there. I want to go to Moscow, never mind. Unbelievable.
Don't have a go at me, have a go at John, but, you know, if you've got any monkey news, send it in.
Podcast@rickygervais.com.
From the creators of The Office, Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant. Extras, the first series, now on DVD.
Who are you?
Nobody.
What's that? Who?
Nobody.
That's right. Nobody. And who am I?
So the Starsky Hutch, I can never remember.
You are guaranteed an Oscar if you play a mentor.
I've just written a sitcom, but I wonder if you could give it to anyone you know.
Is there any nudity in it?
Well, it could be.
Men or women?
Either. Well, just women.
I will make it so.
A painfully funny double disc. Extras on DVD now.
Thanks for listening. Happy New Year. Particularly to our friends at Positive Internet.
Oh, I hope those guys have a wild
They
time.
host this podcast and they do a brilliant job. Happy New Year to everyone around the world. And in particular, those guys at Positive Internet.
And also, Paul Party Animal Parker, have a blinding New Year, because I imagine it's going to be crazy.
You don't need to say it to
your
him.
mum's house.
I'm insulted that you have to tell him that, because there's no way you need to tell him that. He's going to have a blinding New Year, so don't waste your breath, Steve. Happy New Year. Welcome to the world's #1 podcast. I'm Ricky Gervais, with me Steve Merchant.
Hello there.
And Karl Pilkington.
All right.
We have had an overwhelming response from emails. To be honest, we're very grateful and thank you so much, but we've had over 4,000, which is just too many to get through. So we're going to have to apologise for not getting back to you. We are going to try and read them all, but we just can't reply. We do this ourselves. We're three little fellas. We haven't got an entourage and millions of people working for us. It's just us in a little room. But thank you so much. One in particular, remember a couple of weeks ago we asked if there's any house DJs out there, maybe they could do a dance mega mix with the words, I could eat a knob at night. Karl just said that in conversation, talking about someone in a reality game show, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here, who ate a kangaroo penis. And he just came out with the phrase, I could eat a knob at night. Someone has risen to the challenge. We had about 70 different songs. We're going to play our favourite at the end of the show, and maybe put some of the others on the website, rickygervais.com, so you can go there and hear great dance tracks. They're all called I Could Eat a Knob at Night.
Oh, no one's switching off now. Everyone's guaranteed they're going to stay right to the end there so they can hear, I want a bit of knob at... Was it? I could eat a knob at night.
I could eat that night.
It's funny, it was only a while ago you were talking about getting quoted, like Winston Churchill got quoted and Ben Franklin got quoted, and now you may go down in history, I could eat a knob at night, Karl Pilkington.
Karl, I could eat a knob at night, Pilkington.
Talking of all things nobular, I got a text from Karl yesterday, Steve.
A text from Karl, yeah.
Yeah. I'll just read it to you. Okay, see you to Moz for a face rub at 6:30 then. No bum tubes though. So I was intrigued and I called Karl and said, I think you've just sent me a text by mistake. What's the explanation of that? See you tomorrow for a face rub. Yeah. No bum tubes though.
Just because my mate, right, Russell.
Why did he choose you?
He said, you know, there's things that go on in life that you need to experience.
Yeah.
He said, just pop along, and I didn't say yes straight away.
What's a face rub? You mean a facial? Like a facial?
Just like a posh face wash.
Like a facial, where you lay down.
You just clean your face with a flannel and that.
So you're going to have a facial scrub. You're going to go lie down with another man and have your face.
Well, no, this is what I was saying to him. There's a couple of questions. I didn't just say yes straight away. I questioned it. I said, well, I'm not that happy with this. I said, look, there's nothing weird going on here, is there? I said, it's not a house, is it? It's a proper clinic and that. He said, yeah, it's proper. You wear a dressing gown and that. I said, well, I'm not that.
So he's already got you in the dressing gown?
Yeah, well, I haven't agreed to that. Today I've worn a little round polar neck sort of jumper so I don't have to take it off. It's not going to get in the way of my face. I made sure I didn't wear a shirt with a collar. I'm not taking this off. They can put the dressing gown on top of this.
Right.
If you have to do it to look smart or whatever. I'm not taking my clothes off. Okay. I don't know if it's a woman who rubs my head. Don't know if it's a bloke or whatever.
Well, the thing is, you get extra, don't you, for your face rub, because your face goes all the way back over the top of your head down to the back of your neck.
But all I was,
so you've got a big face, haven't you?
All I was saying to him is, I'll have the face rub, but I don't know if once you're in there,
right,
they try and sell you the bum tube thing.
What's a bum tube? Is that a euphemism? What are you talking about?
The thing where they pop a tube in and put coffee in your belly and it cleans you out and that.
An enema?
Yeah, a
colonic irrigation?
Yeah.
Well, why would you have that?
I don't want it. I don't think
Why
it
not?
Just because I think I've said to you before about, you know, You don't need to be that clean inside. You know what I mean? I don't mind washing my face, but at what occasion do you need where you're that cleaned out? Do you know what I mean? And it's always a clear tube and that, and you see all the stuff whizzing past. I don't understand why it's clear. I don't know why you've got to see what's coming out of you. Like it's, like the generation game, making notes of what's whizzing past. Forget it.
Over the Christmas break, I was watching some different TV. Saw an amazing documentary. It was called Tribes. This guy, and he goes and lives with different tribes around the world. These small little indigenous people. And there was one. He went to Papua New Guinea in Indonesia, right, Carl? He lived with the Kombai tribe. All right. Now, this Papua New Guinea is an extraordinary place because it is one of the only places left on Earth that hasn't been fully explored. There are parts of it that it's just blank on the map because they've never explored there. They don't know what's there. They don't know what's going on. So, firstly, that must already freak you out. Imagine that 21st century. They have no idea what's going on down there.
But do they need to know if there's nothing going on?
Well, they don't know what's going on. There could be stuff going on.
No, but there's no chance that they'll go, we haven't been over there, and someone goes and there's like an Arndale centre. Nothing's going to be there, is it? So there's no...
Well,
no
I'll tell you
point.
what is there, okay? There's these various small tribes, okay? This guy goes, he's amazing, right? Now, the thing about these is that up until the 60s, and even more recently, some of these tribes are still cannibals. They're still cannibalistic, okay? Eating people from other tribes.
This is going on now.
Going on now. It's generally stopped, but it still does occasionally occur, alright? So this guy goes to live with them, right? They walk around, obviously naked, except for a little leaf just above their genitals. It's not covering the genitals, it's just above the genitals.
Do they know they could move on? Have they got a telly? Or have they seen a telly and gone, I'm not up for that? Or are they saying...
It's not the Amish.
They haven't chosen
But what is
this.
the difference between the Amish and these people?
Well, the Amish are a group of people that choose to live in that way. These people are just essentially untouched by civilization. I mean, they do have interaction with civilization, and people do come there, but they still live in this very, very almost prehistoric way. They go around, they have homemade weapons, they kill pigs and hogs in the undergrowth. They live in kind of tree houses.
They did buy a telly, but there was nothing on because there isn't any broadcasters.
They couldn't plug it in.
Yeah.
They're having an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
But there was one guy, okay, now he said that his brother was dying. This was a couple of years ago, right? His brother was dying. He said to his dying brother, what happened? Why are you dying? This guy said, it was a bloke in another village. Okay, he goes over to the other village, he kills this other bloke, right? He eats him, or eats bits of him. The other village gets a bit annoyed. They go, what's going on? Why did you kill this bloke? He went, sorry about that, right? They said, well, you need to make it up to us. He gave him a pig. They said, a pig's not enough. They gave him 5 pigs.
Hang on, who are they giving these pigs to? The tribe?
To the tribe of the bloke who he killed and ate. So 5 pigs apparently made up for the fact that they'd killed all of them. They said, well, hang on, what are you going to do with this bloke's wife?
Why were they bartering? Why didn't they just get the police in and say, what's going on?
What police?
Yeah. Why didn't they call Morse? I mean, what? Yeah. Why didn't they call in Kojak? Because he'd have sorted it out, wouldn't he? Or who else could they have called in? Columbo would have sorted it.
I don't understand. What are you saying? There's 2 tribes.
There's a number of different tribes, aren't there? I've just explained that to you. There's a number of small individual tribes in this dense Papua New Guinea forest.
With a load of pigs.
With a load of pigs. But the wife of the guy that he killed, Nate, they said, what, we don't need her now, we don't want her. So she had to come and live with the murderer of her husband. So she's living there now. Happy as Larry.
But what I mean is, right, they're miles away from anything, but it doesn't sound like the great place to live, right? Could they not move? Could one of them go, do you know what, I'm sick of this. I'm moving or whatever, and go to a proper city. How far away is this, these Papa people, to the next...
They're like the Smurfs. They're very like the Smurfs.
But how many miles away from a place with a normal life going on?
But think about this, Carl. Firstly, they don't speak the language, so they don't have any practical skills. They've got no experience of civilization. So even if they chose to go and live in one of these cities, what can they do? How can they function? They'll spend 15 years just trying to figure out how everything works.
Mind you, I have had the same thought about Inuits.
Right.
If you live in a house made of ice and eat fish all day, and then just stay in for 6 months, move. I really do. I mean, I don't understand why they're living there.
I think there's some bacteria that has better lives than that.
That's got to be offensive.
Why?
Okay, how about this is one of the weirdest things. This is one of the weirdest things, right?
Sorry. An entire race
Just
of
dismiss.
people.
No,
No,
It said-
I'm not having a go, but I'm just saying I wouldn't fancy it. Is what I mean.
But they
You know what I
don't
mean? We're living
know
in
of
ice.
another world. How can they imagine that they could... Oh, I'll tell you what, this is boring. I'm tired of hunting for food and eating fish from the river. I'll tell you what, I'd like a world where there's iPods and room service. I'm going to go and move to New York. They're not thinking like that, are they, Carl? Because they don't know about this other world.
Which is why, in a way, Carl can't offend them because they are not listening to this podcast.
Very unlikely. Very unlikely.
You're not going to get any nasty letters from Eskimos or Inuits, as they want to be called now.
Does an Eskimo ever?
Inuit.
Do they ever
Inuit.
meet like an English person on holiday, and an English person goes, "It's choppy here, isn't it?" or whatever?
Well, what do you think?
It's just that people go to, you know, Steve said before about places he's been to where people are still walking about with swords and that. People go to these places on holiday now. They like a little bit of danger. They like to see how the others live. So all I'm saying is, we know they exist.
Yeah.
The Papa people. Maybe people aren't going there. You know, it doesn't sound like the best place. You know, I can't imagine it having a tourist board or anything, right? But would they accept me if I popped over there and, you know, with Suzanne, sort out a little weekend break and that?
Where are we talking?
We're talking Papua New Guinea.
In Papa.
Well, okay, this is one of the things that they do, okay, which is a tradition you may have to do. These combi, right, they invert their penises, so they push their penises back up inside their bodies.
Like a sock.
What for?
Well,
Keep it out of the way.
Of what?
Well, if you're running through the undergrowth chasing a hog, you don't want it flapping away, you know.
But
But it's also become a kind of ceremonial thing, so if you were over there, you may well have to try it yourself.
You would have to try it yourself. If you went there, you'd have to try it
Definitely.
yourself.
but even cavemen had little pants on. Why haven't they?
Whoa!
Slow down.
Rewind.
What do you mean?
Again, you've been watching the Flintstones.
No. It's just, you know.
Is it a leopard skin pair of pants that's actually quite a... Go on.
But it's a well-known fact that they wore like bear pants or whatever.
Bare pants. What do you mean, bare pants? No. Listen, you are a qualified anthropologist. So what?
I mean that, you know, whenever you see them on footage or in a museum,
Footage.
Yeah.
Or-
Whenever
or
you see that
Well,
early
it's a bit
documentary
shaky, innit?
footage.
Yeah, it's black and white as well, isn't it? Caveman footage.
you always see them wearing a little bit of fur little pants and that. So what I'm saying is, even though what year is it to these people in the woods?
I don't know what this conversation
Don't
is
know.
anymore. He's just clutching at straws. His mind, it's like a fly. His mind, isn't it? It's just buzzing round. It's trying to find a window, and that's your mind. It is just
It's
like
hitting against pieces of information, but then
Yeah,
just bouncing
yeah.
off,
yeah.
dazed, perplexed.
Forget it then.
You can't believe your luck, Rick. Paul, the party animal park, has been in touch. I imagine the kind of New Year party he was having last night.
I don't want to think about it because it gives me a hangover just thinking about what that dude got
What
up
that
to.
dude got up to.
Come on then.
Man alive. But anyway, you know, he never stops. He never stops supplying us with little tidbits.
Oh,
Little odds and ends.
what's PP done for us now?
He just
Come on.
likes finding little odds and ends and just sending them in. And you remember when we used to years ago we used to do that thing where we'd read headlines.
Yeah.
And sometimes the headline is all you need from a story.
Yeah.
And this is what's great about this one. If you just give me a news at 10 style bong.
And now the news at 10. Bong.
Boy waited while doctor rode unicycle.
What does that
Yeah,
mean?
well, amazing. A hospital has apologised after a 6-month-old boy waited 2 hours for treatment while a doctor rode up and down a ward on a unicycle. Paula Dadswell has taken her son James to a local general hospital with suspected gastroenteritis. I should point out now, James was fine, it was not a problem. But she spotted the doctor pedalling the unicycle, but was astonished when the same doctor later walked over to examine the child. Miss Dadswell said, "We took one look at the doctor and said, 'You must be joking.' His face went bright red." A spokeswoman for the hospital said, "Of course, we are sorry if distress was inadvertently caused to the mother, and we've offered her our apologies. But let's also remember that we should try and make hospital wards less intimidating places for patients, and we regularly provide diversions that are not directly related to medical care. Many parents have commented favourably on this approach, and indeed about the unicycle."
What I like about that story is that it's the most important job in the world,
Yeah.
and the most useless. Being a doctor is saving lives. It's incredible. It's so noble. Riding a unicycle is the most useless thing
Yeah.
you can do. It's that to me is plate spinning,
Yeah.
juggling. Yeah, it's
Flame eating.
Who goes into plate spinning? Is it like the father going, son, when you've finished university, you can take over the business? But I want to be a doctor, Dad. Look, the plate's nearly, and you're hooked, and you give it a little push, and you're there, and you're hooked.
It's a dying art. You don't see it as often as perhaps you once did.
Dad, I want to be a doctor, but the plate's nearly dropped, son. And unbelievable.
But what I can't make out from that story is whether the doctor he'd done the 7 years medical training, and then they said, you're working at this specific hospital.
Yeah.
They whipped out the unicycle. They said, you're gonna need to learn that as well before we can put you on the wards. Or whether he was practicing. Who knows if he was practicing?
Do you know what I think happened? I think the bloke in charge of the hospital, there was 2 people up for the job. This fella, who was brilliant, he got a first from Oxford, he was amazing, and the bloke in charge, his nephew.
yeah.
And, they both scored the same.
He did an open university course.
Yeah. And they went, well, you're both very good, but, who can ride a unicycle?
He whipped it out.
Yeah.
He went, have a go.
Yeah. And he's been practicing. Unbelievable.
But it's also the idea that if it is indeed something which the hospital has initiated in order to cheer people up, particularly kids, I mean, it just seems like a dangerous thing to be doing in a hospital, with all due respect. I mean,
I think so. You could pull out leads, wires.
Anything could happen.
I know, yeah. They get you to turn your mobile phone off when you go into some ward, so please leave your unicycle here, surely. Do not, no unicycles beyond this point.
If you have a unicycle accident, of course, a great place to be.
It is a good
place to be. It's an ideal space to be already.
But who rides the unicycle anyway? Do you know what really annoys me? We live near a park. It's a lovely park. And on a Saturday for about 3 hours, there's some twat hippie with braids, dreadlocks, sitting there, playing one drum. How can you play one drum? He thinks this is brilliant. This is therapy. It's I want to shut the fuck up.
It's nothing. It's not music. It's not percussion. It's not expressing anything. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
Tell you now, this would be my worst nightmare if you were to take me on an evening out. You say, Steve, we're going tonight, right? You can't get out of it. You've got to do it. It's 2 hours. Stomp.
Oh.
Stomp, where they put dustbin lids on their feet. Now, I mean, I've seen a little bit of it on the Oscars.
Yeah.
It's alright for 30 seconds. Well done. But 2 hours, what is that show? What is the Stomp show?
I don't know.
I mean, Jesus Christ, after about 15 minutes, you've had enough of that, surely. I'm assuming there's not really a story.
Are they bin men? No, I just wondered how you get into that, how you start practicing and go, do you know what? That sounds quite good.
Yeah, they are. They're bin men, yeah. I was shopping with Carl before Christmas, and we went round sort of Piccadilly and St James's, and those really beautiful shops around there. And I went in one shop. You had to ring a bell to enter.
Yeah.
They came down, and it's like a iconoclastic sort of shop, and they found things from churches and nearly all Russian 16th century pieces onwards. This beautiful carvings and paintings and statues and everything, and I was wowed by it. And this bloke clearly loved his work, and he was, enthusing to me about these stuff. This is from the 16th century. This is Russian. This is and I went, oh, it's beautiful. And as I was looking round, I heard Carl sidle up to the bloke and go, "What's the newest thing you've got here?"
Yeah, sure. That's his first thought.
I mean, that is the wrong question to ask of a man who's clearly in antiques.
Yeah.
Proud of the fact he's got 16th century iconoclastic Russian stuff, to ask, what's the newest thing you've got here? What sort of question is that? Oh, I don't know, probably the doorbell. I don't know, what does he want to say? Oh, my shirt. What were you thinking?
hoping for?
I just was making chat with him, because it's the sort of place that I don't think many people go in, right, Steve? When you go up to this shop, right, it's not sat in there. You have to ring a bell. He's getting on with his life upstairs. He lives upstairs, right? You ring the bell to say, what, come in your shop. He pops down, stands there watching you look around. So it's not a natural way to shop.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? It's not nice having a bloke stood there watching you look at all this old stuff and that. So I was kind of making friendly chat.
Yeah.
And I think it's an alright question, because he was saying there's loads of old stuff in there, and he kept going on about the old stuff. So what did to say? Well, what's the newest thing you've got?
And what was
Do you know what he said to it? The other question he asked him? He said, how often do you get new stuff in? And the bloke went, every day. And I said to him, why did you ask that? He said, well, I was thinking, if you got antiques and you sell it all, what's left? Like, someone's going to sell all the antiques in the world because they're not because they're not making any new stuff. What does that mean? They're not making any new stuff.
But I know for a fact no one's ever going to go in there and buy the lot anyway. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I'm not at any point in my life, and I don't think it'll ever happen, will I go, I need some old Russian wood. Because
It was brilliant.
No,
it was, Steve,
no.
it was beautiful. It's amazing stuff. There's stuff. There's these things from the 16th century of sort of like saints and monks, and they're carved
But
and
there's
they're.
loads of it. It's just all piled up. No one's interested. If I was him, I'd go, do you know what? I'm into this, but no one else is. Close shop. Because seriously, it's just piled up, piles upon piles of like old bits of wood with pictures on it and that.
But
There was
think
one
of a
fella-
man. Just think of a man 400 years ago that carved this. You know.
No, but nobody wants it, do they? I've never heard anyone say, you know, oh look, it's my birthday coming up. I'll tell you what I'd love.
What?
Bit of old Russian wood. It doesn't happen. That's what I'm saying. I've never heard anyone saying it like, I've never overheard someone saying, you don't know where the Russian shop is, do you? And this is in London where the rates are high. There was this thing, right, Steve? You know, again, making chat. Loads of bits of wood with like, them old drawings on like...
It was like a panel from a church that someone had painted,
right, yeah.
and I think it was like, you know, from sort of like 1590 or something.
Yeah.
And it was this a picture of this this saint, wasn't it?
So 1590. It could be from any time, really. So there's this one there, right, leaning up against the wall, and most of them in there was that Stalin bloke, right? But there was this little fella.
Right, can I just stop you there? Lenin.
Right,
Okay.
alright then.
Yeah.
So he was on all these bits of wood and stuff, but I saw this other little face, right, little fella with a beard, right? So I said, who's this bloke here? He said, the story there, right? He said, it's this little fella who went a bit mad or something. He got mugged back in Russia. This is right, isn't it? This is what he was saying. He said he got mugged.
This is
and
that term that I love that term in a 16th century Russian wood. Oh no, I'm being mugged.
So he got mugged.
You got
and that.
happy slapped.
And he said, I've had enough of this, right?
Yeah.
And he went to live in the woods, right? Made like a little shed, stayed there. People went to visit him, and like if you got a problem, you knock on his door and you go, oh, I'm sick of it. And he'll sort of say, yeah, I know what you mean. I've moved out of the city and what have you. And he'd make them feel better, and then they go again. Now, why has that man got a plaque? If he was around now, there's no way he'd have a bit of wood with his face on it, is what I'm saying. If someone had got fed up with living in London or New York or whatever, and they go, I'm going to go and live in the woods, people wouldn't visit him, and he wouldn't get a piece of wood with his face on, is what I'm saying. But this man is selling it for about, I think it was about 750 quid for this bloke's head. He's having a
Well,
laugh.
because it's 400 years old and beautifully painted.
But the chances are that this is either a well-known Russian folktale, or it may even be a piece of classic Russian
He's a
literature.
saint. He was a
Or-
saint.
oh,
He was
okay, well, in which
canonised.
case
Yeah,
it's
But
like-
everybody was a saint years ago. That seems to be like thrown about, doesn't it? Who's a saint now in this year? Who's a saint? Naming one now. Yeah, this fella lived in the woods in a hut. Oh yeah, that's Saint John or whatever. He's not a saint. He's done nothing. If anything, he's sort of said, I can't be bothered with living in a city with everyone else. Everyone else has got to put up with it, but I can't put up with it. I'm going to live in the woods. Well, if you can't put up with it, you're not good enough, are you? You've got no stamina. And yet he gets a plaque, is what I'm saying. It's annoying.
Who would
What
you
is
like to
that?
see, who would you like to see get a plaque in the modern world? Who deserves a plaque, in your opinion?
Probably like nurses and that who do a lot of bad things that I think I couldn't do that, carrying lungs about and all that. No, but I couldn't do. Do you know what I mean? That's one job that my mum wanted me to be a doctor.
Oh, whoa! What was she
Wow.
thinking? Oh, what's her
This
expectations
particular
like
apple
now?
didn't fall far from the tree.
Oh, when did she start giving up that dream? At what age did she start going, Carl, you don't need to study your books anymore. Go and play with the worms in the garden. When did she sort of like let you off that
Is
dream?
it the day that she caught you with a spoon up your nose?
From the creators of The Office, Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant. Extras, the first series, now on DVD.
Who are you? Nobody. What's that? Who? Nobody. That's right. Nobody. And who am I? So the Starsky Hutch I can never remember.
You are guaranteed an Oscar if you play a mentor.
I've just written a sitcom, but I wonder if you could give it to anyone you know.
Is there any nudity in it?
Well, it could be.
Men or women?
Either. Well, just women. Yeah.
I will make it so.
A painfully funny double disc. Extras on DVD now.
That was a good advert, wasn't it?
I'm just remembering some of the great jokes in that
what
show.
was that for? I always forget what adverts are for. So it was for...
That was for extras, available now on DVD.
So if you've got vouchers for Christmas, you could go to a shop and buy
Go to the shop, yeah,
extras.
definitely. Absolutely. You could walk straight into any kind of shop, high street shop, and say, "Excuse me, have you got extras on DVD? I've got some vouchers," and exchange them for a copy of the DVD.
Right, and that's big in England and America, isn't it? So on HBO in America, so it's a very successful.
Americans, I guess, the great place to buy that would be on say one of the websites, Amazon or one of the internet shopping
.com or
companies,
.co.uk or Play
and search for it there. But,
.com. And I mean, if it's going the way of The Office, which is the most successful British sitcom ever, I mean, I'd invest now. I'd say I was round at the beginning. I bought extras on DVD the first year it came out.
Get a first edition of the DVD.
Get a first edition of the DVD.
That'll be highly collectible.
And there's great extras on there. You see Sam Jackson and Kate Winslet and Ben Stiller.
Rick, there's some wonderful behind-the-scenes footage, and there's some wonderful little documentaries about, the making of the show. I mean, to me, it just makes perfect sense. It's still a great way to see in the new year.
Right, but if you are going into Amazon, .co.uk and you're buying extras, buy a copy of Flanimals. More Flanimals is available now.
Yeah, I don't get any money from that, so I'm not gonna talk about that.
No. Just buy Flanimals, more Flanimals.
Well, don't keep going on about it.
Okay,
That's not fair.
extras.
Yeah, exactly.
This podcast was hosted by Positive Internet.
Can I just ask, what does hosting mean in that sense?
I don't know, but the guys at Positive Internet do, because they're experts in this field, and that's why I like them.
Well, thanks very much. Join us next time when we'll I'm sure. Let's do a couple of openings.
You do it.
Well, you better say something. Okay. Well, I think you should say, welcome to Ricky Gervais show on or whatever podcast.
I'm not on this, am I?
Yeah.
What am I doing here?
Well, just saying hello.
Hello?
No, let us do the introductions. We're doing 2 introductions in the 2 shows. Fuck me.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Right, welcome again to the Ricky Gervais Show on this Guardian podcast with me, Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant, and
Hello
of course, hello there.
Thanks.
And of course, our producer Karl Pilkington.
Right.
Carl, can I ask you a question?
Go on.
I know this is what a lot of the fans are already wondering. Is there going to be some monkey news today?
There's got to be.
Of course there is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's
All
the
right.
question.
Well, I'm worried because maybe this will steal your thunder. But Sarah Greer has emailed this in, once again, emailed to podcast@rickygervais.com. Chimp mauling under investigation. I know you're concerned, because this actually fuses 2 of our greatest features, Monkey News and Knob News, into one seamless whole.
Oh.
Investigators said they are trying to figure out how 2 chimpanzees that viciously attacked a visitor at an animal sanctuary escaped from their cage. This is the grim bit. The chimps chewed off a man's nose and severely mauled his genitals and limbs.
Why did they go for his genitals?
Both of them did as well.
Eh?
Both of them. Did you say 2 chimps?
No, you're right, yeah, it was chimpanzees too.
Yeah.
I don't know if
See,
both
which
of them
one did
went,
it?
they just saw it there dangling away and they
You
just
go
went,
for the nose?
Yeah.
I go for his bollocks.
And
Now,
then
what accent have they got there?
I
those
don't
chimps?
know.
Were they kind of New York gangster chimps? They're like soprano chimps.
what happened to them anyway?
What happened to what?
The 2 guilty monkeys.
Well, unfortunately, they were shot dead by the authorities.
You see, that annoys me a bit.
I know, but again,
What are you talking about? They're attacking people's gonads!
I know, but they were happy in an African jungle a couple of years ago.
That's what they do, isn't it?
That is what they do. That's what animals do. Animals fight. Do you remember when that bloke?
So what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to let them just wander off into the local mall and maybe savage some young children? Or a bucket with a face paint on it?
No, all I'm saying is you don't shoot them for doing what's natural to them. They
Yes,
did
you
want
do.
Why?
If anything attacks anyone's balls...
No,
and
but why-
bollocks, you attack 'em.
no, maybe they were shot during it. That you're allowed to shoot something that's doing something. But if were they executed or were they shot in the attack?
No, it says he shot them. Well, he shot them to death. I'm assuming he shot them to death as they were legging it off.
But why aren't they just sort of tranquilised? Where was
Why
this?
am
Was
I
this in
being
a zoo?
accused like it was my fault? Just because I happen to be reading Sarah Greer, who emailed it in, the one who should be getting a
It
bollocking.
just annoys me how one way it's kind of like, we're trying to save the pandas, and then the next day someone's shooting them or whatever. I know it's not a panda, but all I'm saying
So
is it's double
therefore, the whole
standards.
argument falls apart. But go on.
No, but what I'm saying is, what would happen? I've talked about this before about St. George killed the last dragon, right?
Right, it didn't exist.
It's the same thing, though.
No, there's never been any dragons.
No.
It's a mythical creature.
Well, you don't
By
know
mythical,
that.
it means we made this up, like the unicorn.
Well,
I don't even understand. What was your point about the dragon? What's that got to do with
because
this?
I'm saying out, like, why is it alright to be going around, going mental with a gun, shooting all the monkeys and killing them? Because one day we're going to run out.
What are you talking about? How have you extrapolated from this one incident of a couple of testy, happy
That's what
monkeys?
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. One incident. They only did it once. And they've got a bullet
But they're
in
not
their head.
shooting around and making them extinct, are they?
If they carry on like that, they will. But
Well, it's up to the monkeys to stop attacking people's private parts.
It's
But that's
got
what a give and take here, I'm
come
sorry.
on. That monkey doesn't know why it's in a cage. It's not going, oh, this is for my own good. It's like, even if it's animal husbandry, they're not sitting there going, well, I'll tell you what, let's stay here, because it's, you know, they're trying to do a nice little breeding program here. Or we could get out and do what we do best, run amok, eat some bollocks, right, and have a good time. Right? They don't know what they're doing. They don't, and Carl's right, the poor little bastards get a bullet in the head.
For what?
And I'm saying, if they're attacking a human, shoot them to stop them, that's fine, okay? But if they're running away and they're, you know, don't shoot them in the back like a coward.
This was an animal sanctuary, though. So presumably they had quite a cushy time there, because most of the ones I've visited, they've always got it easy. They're
But
hanging
you
around
don't-
on tyres, they got comfy chairs, they're wanking. They're going berserk, they're loving it. So, you know, you say that, I think I don't know, I just think there was something nasty, there was something a bit warped in these monkeys. I mean,
But hang on a minute, you've just answered your own question there. You said they're in a sanctuary, so they haven't had a good upbringing. So they're going to be a bit more, like, madder than other monkeys, aren't they? Because that's where the ill ones go, isn't it? Isn't it?
Sorry, what do you understand by sanctuary?
Well, I've been to one for seals.
it's not like a borstal.
Yeah, exactly. He thinks it's a borstal. He
It's
thinks
like
that,
scum.
No, yeah, that they did some bad stuff in the jungle, and that they had a little monkey court, and they went, send him to Borstal.
So, well, what is it then?
No, it's a monkey sanctuary where it like a haven.
Well, it's not a haven, is it? They've got a bullet in the head.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Talking of eating knobs,
Yeah.
Gilly Goulden. Now
What's she been up to?
Well, you saw her in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here.
I haven't been watching it.
She popped a little kangaroo knob in the mouth, chewed it up.
What, she just found
swallowed
it? Did she line around?
No, it was one of the things that she had to
Oh, it was
eat.
one of the challenges.
Carol Thatcher, you know, a daughter of one of our leaders.
Sure.
She popped a couple of bollocks in the mouth,
Oh.
chewed them up, swallowed them.
Oh.
And Gilly Goulden, there was a kangaroo penis there, dried. She couldn't even get. It was so tough, she couldn't even get through it. And then she, eventually, she eats
What was it, like a pepperoni?
Yeah, and she took. What do you think of that, Carl?
What, eating that sort of stuff?
Yeah,
I watch it. I like those little trial bits, right?
yeah.
But what I don't think people realise is, right, it is hard eating a little kangaroo knob. Right?
Really? How do you know?
No, it's just, you know, you think about it and you go, oh, couldn't do that, right? But what they never mention on the TV programme, which I think takes it to the next level, right, they're eating that at like 7:30 in the morning.
Sure. Right.
Which
for
is
breakfast.
worse, innit?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If I was there and Ant and Dec said, right, Carl, eat the knob, I'd go, hang on a minute, give us a few hours, let me get some rice and that on my belly, and just sort of fill me up a little bit more. I'll pop back at about 6:30 this evening,
Right.
have it ready. And I'd be happier then. It's just that thing of, you know,
You
you've been at
don't
the-
want to eat. You don't eat animal genitals on an empty stomach.
So what are you saying? You could
I'm saying, like, I could eat a knob at night, but
just cut that there. We'll loop that. If any DJs are listening, just take that quote. I could eat a knob at night by Karl Pilkington. Maybe do a dance remix.
Yeah,
Just
I think maybe you're sort of a house producer, and you could maybe get some kind of high energy beat going, and then we could just send that out to some of the gay clubs. I'm sure
Yeah.
it'd be really popular.
Please, anyone send us, you know, that looped with a nice little, you know, funky house beat. Karl Pilkington saying I could eat a knob at night.
no, but
That's
do
the
you
on.
know what I mean though? By that.
Not really.
Well, okay then, right. Okay. Now, I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I couldn't pop a kangaroo testicle in my mouth and chew it. It was disgusting to watch. She was eating witchetty grubs. I mean, good on them because they were doing it. But then again, I think, well, they wanted to go in there. They knew they were up for it. So on the one hand, I think, is that admirable and is that showing sort of like good British metal, or is it, you know, I'll do anything to get on telly for a week? I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't. Where does it stop? You know, I thought Rebecca Lewis went too far when she gave the little pig a tug, but at least she knew where to stop.
Yeah.
She didn't, you know.
Well, I think it's obvious when you have to stop.
Yeah, but you know,
the pig tells you that.
To you know, to pop the Also, again, where's the kangaroo hopping around without a cock?
I'll tell you, here's another question, right? Bit of a spin-off with animals and that. Have you ever, right, Steve, killed a fly?
Probably, yes.
Right. Well, I was watching David Attenborough, right? He makes his money out of flies and that, doesn't he? Do you think he's ever killed one, or does he go, well, I can't kill that fly or that spider, because that's how I make my money?
I don't know what the question is.
I don't know what this question is.
Like my mum, right, she said, if a fly is knocking about the house, she never kills it, she always catches it and puts it out and that, and she said she'd never kill
Who is
one.
she, Mr. Miyagi? What do you mean she catches it? How does she catch it?
With a pair of chopsticks.
No, she...
Rick, it's that time again. It's what everyone's waiting for. Can you do the jingle for us?
Oh, chimpanzee, that monkey news.
Right, this week the monkey news is about, you know, we all know, like, you know, there's monkeys knocking about that aren't happy in this country.
Sure.
Aren't they?
It is a big problem, yeah, it's an epidemic.
So they've set up like this this sanctuary place.
Okay.
Where they all go. The ones that aren't happy in a zoo and what have you, it's getting them down.
They can phone a number and they'll come and pick them up.
Pop them in this house place, right? And basically, they can run riot in there.
Yeah.
To get freedom to sort of cheer themselves up. It's like, don't have a go at them. If they want to do such a thing, let them have a go and whatever, right?
Yeah.
There's 3 people running this place, right? And one of them...
Sorry, where is this place for wayward chimps who don't like the zoo? What are you talking about? A house where they can do what they want?
I'm not sure where it is.
That's a surprise. Go on.
But there's this place anyway. It doesn't matter where it is, does it? At the end of the day, I'm just telling you what the problem is. We haven't got to the problem bit yet.
Go on.
I'm just building up to it, right? So these monkeys, big house and that.
PlayStation, anything they want.
Gym, all that lot.
Gym.
So anyway, I'll cut to the chase. Whatever. One of them wanted to mess about with the woman's breasts. Right?
Which woman's breasts?
The woman who works there.
Right.
Right. And she was like, right, pack it in, you know, we've all had a bit of fun. You've been in the gym and everything. She obviously, you know, got a bit excited and that. He was fired up and that, ready for some more action and that. He's trying to have a go on this woman's breast, right? She was like,
have a go.
She was like, no, you're not doing that. Pack it in and all that. The boss who's running the place was like, come on, let him have a go.
No. Right, you're talking shit.
I'm telling you what, I know sometimes I step over the mark and they made
Right,
this...
so where is this place where... Well, 1, where is this house where chimps are allowed to do what they want? And 2, where is this place where one of the bosses, one of the human bosses, suggests to the other one, oh, and if the chimp wants to play with your tits, love, let the chimp play with his tits.
I've said before, Rick, will you please stop interrupting
Miss
news?
Listen, it's alright, Steve, because what I'll do, I'll bring the link and you can put the link on the website and people can have a look at the proper story. I'm just giving it them in a headline form here. They can read the full thing.
No, you've only read the headline form.
I haven't read it. I sort of read like the first.
It was probably monkey feels a right tit, and you've extrapolated all this from that.
So anyway, right? So he's there, and he's.
So the boss says, "Yeah, you can have a go."
The boss is saying, "Let him have a go."
Come on, Rita. If monkey wants to play with nipples, let him.
So she's like, "I'm not happy with this," and he's going, "Come on, you know the rules here. We've got to cheer these monkeys up."
This is absolute.
We valued it.
Actually, no, and in the end, because she didn't allow it to happen, the fella bloke sacked her, got someone else in. This isn't made up. I will put the link on the website and everyone can have a look at it, but basically...
I want to see the advert he put in the Guardian media page. I love that. Woman wanted to let chimp feel tits whenever it wants.
Well, it's all up there.
You're talking absolute shit again.
Well, we'll see.
That is no way that happened.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Do you know the other week when I came up with like a different idea of how we can sort of make the world run and that?
Can we just have a quick recap of that? Because I seem to remember it was a load of old arse.
It was ridiculous. It was he was saying that the world is overpopulated, so the system would be where people were living too long and stuff. So what happens is people live till 78. I don't know how you can enforce that, right?
Yeah.
But when they die, they've got a little baby in their stomach,
Right.
like a pip in an apple, that then carries on when they die.
Right.
It wasn't a theory. It wasn't an idea. It was the ramblings of a mental
You're
case.
saying it's stupid, but someone's emailed in and said, "Oh yeah, that's pretty good." Good
Yeah,
place."
and okay, I'm asking you again. Was the letter written in shit?
Anyway, listen, right.
Did it say the mental home,
been
Mars?
I've been thinking about it, right, and if we can't do that, right, if that's a no to that, right.
Well, it's not a question of whether we can
but
do
I'm
it
just,
or not.
Just saying,
Go on.
if that's a no, right, I've been thinking.
It is a
about,
no. This is
no,
gonna be
because there's a
brilliant.
lot of weird. I mean,
You could win the Nobel Prize
no,
for this.
But listen, there is a lot of ways in the world that some creatures and that go about sort of moving on. If you know what I mean.
Evolution, you mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of like on that David Attenborough program that he's doing at the moment. He's always showing you little insects and what they've got to do. And there was one about a wasp, right, that had to fly about, right, for ages, looking out for a certain type of spider, right.
It lays its egg in the
When
spider.
I saw it, it whizzes down,
Yeah.
right. It lands on its back, so that he's got to get that right. It lands on it. I don't think the spider's up for anything. That isn't even aware of this is how things move about. He's not going, I've got to look out for a wasp. So all this is like, it's got to be perfect timing. So this wasp dived down, right, sat on the back of this spider, it injects it or something with a maggot or something, right? And then that maggot then lives off the spider for a bit. The spider knows it's got a maggot in it.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
And it's making a web for it. It goes, I've got something to look after here now. I've got responsibilities. It makes a web, right? It sort of reverses into it and puts the maggot on the web. The maggot sort of clings onto the web. Spider's there. Maggot eats the spider, and then it moves on. If I came up with that idea for like a method, you'd say that's never going to happen.
Never wake up! It's not the fact that you came up with the idea, right, for an old lady dying at 78 with a baby growing in her that then lives on. It's nonsense. It's no idea. It's how can it be enforced? It's like, so even if scientists thought that was the best idea in the world, how would they enforce
but
it?
what I'm
Who's
saying
going to go, that's a good idea, we've never thought of that.
Yes, but what I'm saying
Get in Elsie.
Who told the wasp to look out for that spider, to go on its back, to do,
What do you mean who told the wasp?
before to
It's
you.
evolution, it's natural selection.
Yeah, but I can understand, we've chatted about it before about giraffes having a long neck, but you're talking about a wasp and a spider who...
That's
as
because
far as
you're
I'm
attributing thought and will behind their behaviour. Behaviour in humans is linked with a free will.
Yeah, but most of what we do, say like how we have a kid at the moment, you don't just jump on the back of a woman and go, there you go, love, and then the baby pops out.
You do if you come from Bristol.
No, what I'm saying is, right, it's all, you build up to it, don't you? You have that bit of a chat and you go, right, how's it going? Yeah, and you get on and that, and then a little baby will come out.
This is the most.
Wait. Well, I want to go back to the dating procedure there. You have a chat, you go alright, and then a little baby comes out. That's extraordinary.
This is amazing.
No, I'm
Man, like,
This
I'll
is
tell you-
incredible.
I tell you,
This-
two-bit radio's gain was secondary school's loss. It really
No, what
was.
I'm saying is,
This is my first Pilgrim book.
no,
Unbelievable.
what I mean is, we all get on. What I'm saying is, at what point is a wasp ever going to have a chat with a spider or meet up with it?
I don't even understand where we are now in this conversation.
What point is a wasp going to ever have a chat with a spider? What world do you live in? What's in your head?
No, but-
I can't believe it. Carl, what point is a wasp ever going to have a chat with a spider?
So in some kind of weird insect nightclub, these wasps and these maggots are meeting, they're getting on. Is that how you're imagining
no, but
it?
that's what I'm saying to you. What
No,
are the
but-
odds on that actually happening?
But listen. You're thinking because behaviour in lower forms of life is purely chemical. It's purely, it bypasses any form of consciousness. Right? There's a parasite. That's like a flatworm, a platyhelminth, or it might be a nematode. It's some sort of invertebrate.
off.
Yeah. That it lays its egg, the beginning of its cycle, is in a stickleback, okay? And it literally has to change the stickleback's behaviour, okay? Because it has to get into a warm-blooded animal to complete its cycle. So what it does is, this parasite makes the stickleback not flee from the shadow of a heron. So it makes the stickleback get eaten, right? So it then is in the belly of a warm-blooded animal and it can complete its life cycle. But at no point is the nematode or the platyhelminth, whatever it is, going, slow down, there's a heron coming, stay here, stay here, stay here. And the stickleback going, why? I don't want to stay, there's a heron. There's no conversation. It's not they get together and go, listen, I've got something that might be mutually beneficial to both of us. I need to get into a heron. You like to be eaten by a heron? No, I don't. Where's this conversation with a
Yes, you do. It's got Jedi powers.
you do.
No, all I'm saying is, you know, the idea that I came up with, you're sort of saying that's a crazy
Can I just,
It's not
sorry,
an
before you
idea. It's
carry on,
not
can I
an
just say,
idea.
how many times have we heard all I'm saying is, and
Yeah.
then such a stream of nonsense
Yeah.
that it's blown our minds?
No, but that's all I'm saying. That, you know, what you've just explained there with the error and having to knock about and for a flea to be sat in the shade and that.
Now see that is incredible. That translation of what I said is that sums it up for me.
Yeah.
He sees the headline, he reads a book, it then goes through this weird filtering system with, I imagine the music in his head is boop, beep, boom, ba, discordant piano.
I think the noise in Carl's head is like a fax machine, if you've ever got that up full volume.
I think it's like a Czechoslovakian cartoon from 1963.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, noises like, woks being hit.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Right, so
pianos
anyway.
just being hit by elbow.
He's the only person you can give him a body of information, and he strips away the facts.
But the way he said that, I talked about, clearly talked about some sort of parasite in a stickleback that makes its behaviour change so it doesn't flee the heron's shadow. He said, so there's an heron with a flea who doesn't like the shade. How did it come up? I mean,
It doesn't matter, forget that, right? But
what's
anyway,
your theory? What's your theory?
What I'm saying is I've come up with something else that I want to run by you then.
Go on
right?
then.
So you've sort of boo-booed the idea.
Boo-booed.
We've boo-booed it, we have boo-booed it.
He shows a completely different bear.
Yeah.
It was originally Poo-Poo the bear, but now it's Boo-Boo the bear. Brilliant.
So you've said no to, you know, the old woman having a kid, right,
Yeah.
before she dies. What about if we do it the other way, right?
Ah.
Go on.
Somehow, I don't know how
A
yet.
kid has an old lady?
That's what it's going to be, isn't it? A child will give birth to an old man.
No.
Right.
What I'm saying is, right,
Go on.
work the other way round.
Come on then.
So if somehow we can inject something in like a body that's just died, right?
Listen to this. Imagine this as notes.
So-
when he hands it into the Nobel people,
Yeah.
and they go, if there's a way that we can inject something, and they go, well, what? Well, I don't know the chemical formula, but something HO2.
Right. So anyway, so you inject it in the temple.
He's narrowed it down to the temple.
Well, that's
Fine.
right.
Yes, we inject something.
So you inject it in.
Who are you injecting?
This old woman who's she's been ill and that she's died.
So she's dead. So
Yeah,
we're bringing old people back to life. Okay, fine. That's step one. We just got to sort that out first. But fine, we'll crack that. Go on next. So we brought people back from the dead. Fine.
Yeah,
And
but
next.
this is a way of controlling population. Remember, they can't be having it away and having kids. This is just the way we're going to
Okay,
work
so
from now.
there's an old lady. So we start now. We start now as the world is now. So what happens?
Right. So you get like an old woman.
Who's dead?
Yeah.
Yep.
Inject her and that.
Inject her.
And then what happens is she sort of wakes up.
Amazing.
Right. And she works the other way. So like she might be 77.
Yep.
And then she'll have a birthday. She's 76. And she's working that way.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
Okay.
Are you with me?
No, keep it.
Because the thing is, you've got.
I have no
I'm
idea.
really scared.
Yeah.
I'm really scared. This is the maddest thing you've ever said.
Yeah.
This is madder than the old lady with the pit like an apple in her belly.
It sort of did work.
This is
No, it didn't work. It worked in your head. It's like a dream that you wake up and go, oh, I've got a great theory. And
This
it's
is
like,
this is it. Let me just tell you the
Go on then.
ending, because the endings works out a bit better.
go on.
What I'm saying is, when you die at the age of
78.
9 months,
What?
at the age of 9 months, because that's when you come out.
What do you mean when you die at the age of
You're
9
not scared of dying because you're now a baby, so you don't know what's going on anyway. So there's no fear.
So you missed out a bit here. So this woman, what, literally gets younger and younger?
I think
Yeah.
when she's in her 20s, she's in her old age, Rick.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because that's the fun part of your life, isn't it? When you're 20 and you've got all your energy and that. So before you die, you're actually having a good life, rather than it being the other way around.
But does she do different stuff than she did on the way up? Because she's already lived 78 years, hasn't she? Don't forget. She was a baby once, and she grew to 78 years, then someone stuck a needle in her head and said, right, back you go.
No, but forget all that bit.
Forget all that bit. How do we forget that bit?
What I'm saying
So
is...
she died and she doesn't remember all her, this is a new life, is it?
Let me just leave you with this.
Right, you're talking shit. Explain yourself.
What I'm saying is, old people are scared of dying. When they're 77, they're going, oh, what's going to happen to me? Little injection in the head. When it's a baby, when it's like 1, and everybody around it's going, yeah, it's going to die soon and that. Baby hasn't got a clue, it's happy. It's playing about with its rattle or whatever.
So it loses all its memories.
That's it.
And then what happens? So when does it die? When it gets to 0? When it's 0 days old, it goes through.
It just dies. People know it's almost like a countdown. So the family's aware of it.
But aren't the family getting younger as well? What's happened to the family?
Forget it then. We'll leave it as it is.
No, leave it as it is, shall we?
Shall we? Can we all agree on that, guys? Now, should we agree to leave it as it is? Is that all right? Because I don't want to hear any more from the diaries of Charles Manson.
No, it's. I mean, you're a fucking maniac.
If you're a maniac and you'd like to get in touch, then please email us at podcast@rickygervais.com. Doing a bit of Christmas shopping, Rick, the other day, and I was travelling around on the tube, the London Underground, the subway system for our American friends. And, you know, as you know, but people around the world may not be so familiar, there's a recorded voice that you sometimes get on the tube that says, mind the gap.
Oh yeah, before you open the door.
Yeah.
Mind the gap.
And the reason is that sometimes in some stations there is a gap between the train and the platform, and obviously, you know, theoretically you could fall down
And it's
there
different
or whatever.
sizes, so just that little reminder, mind the gap. You look down, it's safe.
Just makes you stop. Seems to make sense.
Yeah.
Saw a kid, teenager, wearing a t-shirt, don't know where he bought it. It just said, fuck the gap.
He was tired of it.
Yeah,
he didn't want to mind the gap.
But what I like is, what's he protesting about?
I don't
You know what I
know.
mean? It's not the police or the man keeping you down. That's just good, sensible health and safety information.
That's like
You know?
saying fuck looking both ways before I cross the road.
Screw penicillin.
I know.
No, do you know what? I'm going to drink and I am going to use threshing machinery. And I don't give a damn. I love that about teenagers, that kind of, screw you sort of mentality, but not, it's kind of blind, isn't it? It just, anything's a target, anything's valid.
When I was a teenager, I think maybe 17, I had a t-shirt. I was rallying against just stuff, really. It was slightly more abstract than the Gap. I wasn't specifically against the Gap. It just said bullshit. Just in general, bullshit.
You were raging against the machine.
I would just go, yeah, people say, hey, what are you, I just open my, I go, bullshit, alright? Just bullshit.
But I assume that these forms of protest have never made any dent in anything in the world. Because I remember when there was all these protests against the war, a couple of months back, and there was one guy, so there was a huge march in London, as you know, and they did these all around the world, didn't they? But there was hundreds, thousands of people in London. There was one guy, he was riding around on a 3-wheeled bike, wearing a jester's hat, blowing a horn. That was his form of protest against the war.
Was it like, what sort of horn was it?
It was one of those sort of hunting horns.
Well, he was showing him, he was saying, this is what I believe.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't change people's opinions, I don't know what will.
But I like the idea of Bush, yeah, just about to invade Iraq, and just the news comes through from his chief of staff.
And Bush goes,
George.
What is it? What is it? What?
No, listen, no, seriously, we've got some information coming in from London.
Go on.
I know you're thinking of invading Iraq.
Definitely,
but,
yeah, why?
Well, let's just think about it, because there's a guy riding around on a 3-wheeled bike.
Oh.
He's not got the regular 2, he's gone for 3 wheels. So.
Okay, well listen, what's he wearing?
I don't want to tell you what he's wearing,
What's he wearing on his head?
He's wearing a jester's hat.
Okay, no, well, calm down, it's not that bad. It's not gonna change my opinion about...
He's blowing a horn.
Okay, get the troops out. Get the troops out now. What do they think they're doing?
You've got to get involved in the... I saw a girl once again, a teenage girl, I was behind her on the tube, and she had this bag, like a rucksack, and it was kind of black, and it had, painted in Tipex, it had a picture of George Bush, but he was kind of in the sights of a rifle, you know, and it sort of said "Stop the War," and it had a Barbie's head, but it was severed and the hair was scraped back, and she'd been made up to look kind of devilish, and there were sort of CND signs, and there was, you know, "No to war" and all this, and I sort of wanted to tap her on the shoulder and say, are you actually getting involved in stopping the war, or have you been working mainly on this bag?
Yeah,
Because that must have taken you at
time.
least a couple of days. Where you could have been writing emails, you could have been getting a petition going.
Oh dear.
Carl, have you ever been into that sort of teenage rebellion, teenage protest?
What, to sort of stop stuff going on and that?
Yeah. Or just, you know, making your views heard.
I don't really like people knowing what I'm thinking and that.
Right.
There's no way anyone can know what you're thinking.
No, but
even
Is
with
that why you're doing a radio
experimentation.
show where you spout off your nonsense ideas every week?
No, but what I mean is,
A team of surgeons could fiddle around in your head for a couple of days and they still wouldn't know what you were thinking.
No,
I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. Exactly. You're thinking of, you're thinking, could a monkey ever be president? At this moment, aren't you?
But I don't like anyone that, like all those badges that you're talking about, like, you know, Save the Whale and all that. I don't like the idea that when I get on a tube and someone sees that, they sort of know that I want to save the whale. I don't like people knowing, even to the point of...
It gives you a disadvantage in life, doesn't it?
But just knowing stuff like when you get on a tube and say if you've been shopping, right, and you've had to buy an ironing board, I hate it that people sort of look at what you've got and go, oh, he's doing some ironing.
Right, okay. That's got to be rare. I mean, you can't have bought more than 5 or 6 ironing boards in your adult
but
life.
I don't mean just ironing boards. I mean like anything big where they can't wrap it, so they just put a carrier bag round a little bit of it, and everyone can see what you've just bought.
It's weird because I bought an ironing board last week from Argos, and I did feel a little bit self-conscious.
There you go.
Because I thought people thinking, he's 30, why hasn't he got an ironing board yet?
Yeah.
No wonder he's a scruffy bastard.
I pretend I'm going surfing whenever I buy an ironing board. I just make sure I go in Bermuda shorts and sunglasses, and I just walk down the street and I go, surfing USA, and they think, hey, there's a dude going to the beach. I pop on a bus, go home, do some ironing.
Yeah. Wait a minute, what's that on his t-shirt? Bullshit. He's radical. I get still faintly embarrassed buying toilet paper.
Yeah. I always have to buy something else to go with it.
Yeah.
I don't like, because if you just buy that on its own, it's obvious that you're dying for one, and it's like, I haven't got any in. Yeah. Whereas if you just chuck it in with a pot noodle, it's like, well, he's eating and he's thinking about later. Whatever. But
if you buy it on its own, you know that you've got none in the house and you've just rushed across the street to get some. Because especially if you're still in your slippers.
Well, that's about it for another podcast, and a new one in a week's time after Christmas. So, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Have an absolutely blinding Christmas.
Or a lovely whatever festival you celebrate in your part of the world. From Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant, and Karl Pilkington.
If you want to send us anything, as ever, the email address is podcast@rickygervais.com. You can email just your thoughts on the show, if you've got some monkey news for Karl, or anything you think might intrigue Karl, or indeed maybe just some Christmas wishes. Then that's the email address, podcast@rickygervais.com.
I would like to wish a particularly Merry Christmas to those guys at Positive Internet for all their genius input and good work hosting this podcast. Goodbye.
Merry Christmas.